Story 1 Original post. Am I the a-hole here for telling my 19 female daughter she will have to move out of my house if I get divorced because of her lies after her stepdad saw her naked? Throwaway account due to the situation, but I need to know because I'm getting calls and text from family calling me an asshole for not being on my daughter's side. My husband and I have been married for a little over 5 years now. I will say my daughter 19 female and he has an okay relationship, not exactly father and daughter but almost advice asked and given relationship basically. I have never picked up on anything weird from my husband towards my daughter, and my daughter has never said or insinuated anything at all as well. On Thursday me and my husband was watching a movie in the living room. We paused the movie as he got up to use the bathroom. I heard him knocking on the door twice. Literally 3 knocks each time on the door a couple of seconds apart. It was loud enough for me to hear him knocking from the living room. The next moment I heard screaming. I rushed to the bathroom and saw my daughter completely naked covering herself and yelling at my husband that to get out. I didn't see everything that happened, but what I saw after I heard yelling was my husband literally fell over his own feet and struggling to get the bathroom door closed. I asked my husband what happened and he said he knocked nobody answered, so he went in and my daughter was naked in front of the mirror and he tried to get out. After my daughter calmed down I asked her side of what happened and she said she was changing and all of a sudden my husband walked into the bathroom. I asked her why she didn't answer him when he knocked. She said he didn't. I told her I heard him knock, so I am sure that he did. She said she didn't hear it because she had her earpods in listening to music. We got the situation sorted and my husband did apologize to her and explained he thought the bathroom was empty and walked in. She even gave him a hug and apologized for yelling at him. The problem now is my daughter got family members involved and they are now calling my husband a creep. Got a call from my sister berating me for still having my husband in the house. I asked what she meant and I came out that my daughter spun a whole other story and left out the fact that she was listening to music with her earpods and is telling everyone that she owns at him and he still walked into the bathroom to look at her. We have cameras in our hallway and it proves that my husband did knock, as you can see it on the video, but the cameras has no audio. I sat my daughter down and asked her and she denied saying anything like that or that she told anyone anything. I got mad and asked then how does your aunt know what happened, and she went silent. She said she talked to her niece about it and she must have told her mother. I asked her why did she lie about what happened and made my husband look bad when he did nothing wrong. She again denied lying about anything and I told her what my sister told me. She just started to cry and say sorry. She was just talking and making up scenarios with her niece. The whole day yesterday I got calls and text from my family members as the story spread. The wrong story is spreading and my husband is looking like a creep to everyone. I sat my daughter down again and had her read some of the things being said about my husband and told her she has to fix this because her lying is what caused this. She refused, saying she didn't spread this and she only told her niece and doesn't want to say anything to anyone because they will think bad about her. She said they know my husband and this will just blow over. Everything did blow up when my husband walked into the living room with his bags packed and said he is going to stay with his parents for a while because he doesn't want to be in this situation anymore where he is made out to be this kind of person. My daughter broke down and apologized repeatedly and said she will fix it, by my husband still left. I told her if I get divorced because of her lies she will be moving out of my house. I told her she better fix what she did and tell everyone what really happened because I will not be losing a man that loves and actually cares for me like my husband does over lies. She asked me to help her and I told her no, she isn't a child anymore and her lies for attention did this. This is on her. I already tried and I'm now also being accused of taking my husband's side and not providing a safe space for my daughter. I don't know what to do. My husband asked for space and my daughter is inconsolable at the moment. I'm not in the best state myself. Sorry if my post is all over the place. I don't even know if my title is correct on this post. I have reread and it still doesn't make sense to me. Now for the comments. I would never move back to a home where someone has spread false sexual misconduct stories about me for no reason, and still lives there. I'd never be okay being alone with that person. Even if they set it straight. Even if they were sorry. Even if I fully forgave them. Those kinds of rumors can and will ruin a person's entire life. There is no guarantee in any way the rumors won't continue, spread further, get twisted, or the person won't lie again, starting it all over. What's to stop her from setting it straight, but in an effort to save face, lean on I don't want to have to move, so I have to take it back. No, I don't know why I'd lie. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Just trust me, I did lie though. People will talk. The horse is out of the barn. What's done is done. No matter what happens now, people will always question it, suspect him, and suspect you are protecting him. However it plays out, your daughter needs to talk to a professional. Being sorry, learning the hard way isn't enough. She needs professional help to figure out why she chose to lie, why she'd tell her niece this, why she repeatedly doubled down when she got caught, etc. If I was your husband, I'm never coming back. Lies like this are severely damaging. All trust is broken. Not the a-hole, but you should be aware that even if she does come clean, your husband has every right to not want to live in the same house as her again. You may still have a very hard decision to make. She lied and had him labeled as a predator and saw nothing wrong with allowing that to continue so long as she didn't look bad for lying. And what are the chances everyone thinks OP forced her to say it? Damage is done. That's what I was thinking. Then they will assume OP is sticking up for her husband even after what he did. There's no winning here. That is already happening when I tried to explain what really happened. I'm being accused of protecting my creep of a husband and not giving my daughter a safe space. Extremely distressing for your husband. I would take the daughter, drive to this niece. Sit down with the niece and the mother and make your daughter tell her the real story. After that, I would tell the mother of the niece to call every single person they told and tell her she was wrong. If your daughter refuses, kick her out. For every person who said anything about your husband, cut them out of your life unless they apologize to your husband in person. Update. Sorry for only updating now, but I'm not in the best of places at the moment and it has taken me a couple of days to get my thoughts together. I don't know what to do anymore. My husband has asked for a divorce. First let me answer a couple of questions I saw coming up repeatedly. We have locks on every door in the house. I don't know why my daughter didn't use the lock on the door. The cameras inside the house isn't pointed at any door except for the ones pointed at the front door and back door. The other camera is at the end of the hall and you can see every door in the hallway from that camera. We have a bathroom in our room but we can't use it at the moment. The water is completely shut off due to renovation of the bathroom. My husband has asked for a divorce. On Friday he came back home and asked to talk. During our talk he showed me his phone and some of the things my family members were saying about him was just outright horrible. Calling him a pedo, asking him how many times he has taken a peek before. I don't recognize any of my family anymore. I understand if he actually did something but he hasn't, and the hatred they are showing over a stupid mistake tell me they refuse to listen or they have hated him from the start and is now using this to try and get rid of him. He said he can't ever come back and this has now started to affect his work life as well. He was called into HR to explain because some of my family members have called his office. Luckily they haven't done anything and refused to do anything until a case is brought against him. They know my husband very well and I think they believe him as well because he is still working. During our talk he explained that he does love me and still does and he is happy I stood up for him, but my daughter's actions have caused too many problems, accusations, and made him scared. He explained he sat at the office and at his parents' home every day just waiting for the police to show up and arrest him. He said her lies broke him and he can't see a way to come back from it. I asked him to reconsider and that maybe we can go for counseling, but he also refused, saying everything is too broken to fix. I told him that I will kick out my daughter and told him about everything I did and told my daughter to do, but he said I'm missing the point. His life could have been completely ruined because of a lie. My family will never trust him again and will always harbor hatred or suspicions about him, especially now that my daughter want to clear things so long afterwards they will think we forced her to do it and that will just make things worse. He said he will always remain the creep in their eyes. I asked him what if I cut off my family and we moved away because I was already working on that. I showed him my phone and the message I have sent every single person so far that refused to listen and that I blocked them. He asked what about my daughter. I told him again I will be kicking her out and she will be staying with my parents from now on. He asked what if we moved away, will I abandon my daughter then, because he doesn't want to be near her or be alone with her at all. I didn't know what to say about that. Before I could answer he said again it's better for us to get divorced. He said I will never ask you to abandon your daughter. I will never expect you to do something like that, but I don't want her anywhere near me. If you abandon your daughter, I don't know if I could ever look at you the same afterwards, even if it was for my sake. The only solution here is for us to get divorced. My daughter came running down the hallway into the living room, crying. I think she was listening to our conversation. Before she could get a word out, my husband jumped up from the couch and put his hands out and asked her not to get near him. He said, before you say anything I will start to record the conversation now, and took out his phone. I think I saw something break in my daughter's eyes at that moment, at the realization of everything hit her all at once. She asked my husband to forgive her and she never meant for things to get so out of hand. She was just making up scenarios with her cousin and her cousin was the one that ran with it. My husband asked her why didn't she clear it up immediately then. She said she did think it will go this far and thought it will just blow over because everyone knows him. He showed her his phone and asked her to read some of the messages and my daughter went completely silent. We talked for about 4 hours. At the end, my husband said he will give us 3 months to move out of the house because it is his house. My daughter can keep the car because it was a gift, and that he will finish paying this year's tuition but will not pay anything going forward. He said he hasn't gotten a lawyer yet but told me to get one. He will like to do this without lawyer, but if I want to I can get one. He said he will be fair in the divorce and doesn't harbor anything against me, but he can't stay in the relationship. My daughter was just sitting on the floor looking like a ghost, and I couldn't just say anything. Listen to him talk about divorce and what will be split and what not, like it was nothing. He was talking like the last 5 years was nothing and it was just easy to move on. The best way to describe it was like he was returning something to a store. He left the house and I just sat on the couch. I don't know if I was crying, talking, or what. I can't remember much as everything was muffled around me, until my daughter started to full on crying, saying sorry, sorry, sorry over and over again, laying on the floor. I don't know how long I sat on the couch, but when I got up I saw my husband's car still in the driveway. I looked out of the window and I could see him full on crying in the car. Seeing that completely broke me. My daughter and I haven't talked since my husband was here Friday, not a word to each other. My family members have showed up to the house to apologize because apparently my daughter has all of a sudden now cleared everything up, and she herself shared the video from the camera with the family members. Every time they show up I just close the door in their faces. I have gotten Facebook, Instagram, calls and text from them, and when I block them they keep making new account of use different numbers. I don't want to lose my husband, I really don't. This is the first man I have ever met that has actually treated me with kindness, respect, and love, and now it's all over. I have tried to talk to him and tried to convince him to go to counseling with me, but every time I have tried he sends back I can't take the risk. I have tried to meet him in person, but he just says it won't be a good idea. I have gone over to his parents' house but they refuse to let me see him. I have gone to his work to talk to him, but I was told he was sent home by his boss. I truly don't know how to fix this. Having my daughter move out now won't work because I need to be out of the house as well. I don't want anything from my husband, I just want him. I haven't talked to a lawyer yet, but I don't think I can keep the house. He owned it before we moved into the house. I really want to fix this. I still want to kick my daughter out of the house, but will he still give me a chance to fix it even after what my husband said about me abandoning my daughter and not seeing me the same afterwards? I don't know anyone. Am I really going to lose a wonderful man? Edit. I forgot how Reddit fixates on one thing. The comment about the house I made. I have not intentions of trying to take his house or anything like that. It's not my house. I had questions in my previous post about the house and I think I just answered it. I'm not going to try and take his house. He owns it and has owned it before we got together. I have no right to the house and will not try to take the house. I hope this clears it up. Now for the comments. I want to know the reaction of the cousin and aunt who ran with it. They are completely silent and refuses to answer calls, text, or even open the door when I went to their house. If you want to do anything, then find out ways to sue your cousin's daughter. Wow. Your daughter really messed up. She ruined your husband's life, she tanked your marriage, and left you homeless. And F up her own education. Husband was paying for that too. I would let her go and live alone. Learn how much work is to provide what she F up. And she did it all against a guy who was housing her, paying her education, and bought her a car. For fun. Making up scenarios with her cousin in which her stepdad a pervert who wanted to see her naked. Who does that? She's 19 for crying out loud, then had the nerve to lay there in the floor crying over the fact that now he's leaving because she decided to make up lies that would ruin his life, then refused to do anything to correct them, until after the ship for correcting them has sailed. It's over. Your daughter, and your family, almost destroyed his life. From his perspective, he's probably feeling somewhat grateful that she only destroyed his marriage. Listen, they phoned his work and leveled accusations. He got pulled into HR. He was sitting at his parents' house waiting to be arrested. That is hugely traumatizing. And now you phone him, show up at his parents' house, show up at his work. Sis. Stop. It's over. There really is such a thing as a point of no return. My first wife left me while I was out of town. Took the only car we had. No conversation, no chance for counseling, nothing. We were young, 22, and she just wanted a new life elsewhere. Problem was, all the bills were in her name, and she literally didn't talk to me for 3 months. Not a word or text. I had my utilities cut off one by one because I couldn't pay it, and they wouldn't take my money for the account because I didn't know the account numbers. After 3 months of spending part-time on the phone to every bill and utility service, not hearing from her even once, I had basically lived my life like she'd just up and died. She came back 3 months later, and seeing her pull up was the worst feeling I've ever felt. I felt nothing. Like I wasn't happy to see her. I wasn't excited or even mad. She was just a person who put me through 3 months of hell for no reason, and I was just over her being in my life. Dude in AITA's situation hit the same thing, harder and faster. He became one person alone in the world, battling something nobody else was. That kind of independence changes you. I'm sorry, but it's over. He told you he can't be around your daughter after what she did to him, but also if you abandon your daughter even for him, he will never see you the same way. There's no coming back from this. And I know how much you're hurting right now, but do you really believe harassing your husband, after what your family has already done to him, is fair to him? Leave the poor man alone. Story 2. Am I the a-hole here for telling my mother-in-law she's not allowed in the delivery room? Hello. I, 27 female, recently married my husband, 27 male, back in May of this year. My husband and I recently found out I was pregnant and are very excited to first-time parents. However, there's an issue with his family. For context, my husband's family is very large and close-knit. Because of this, there are boundary issues. My husband's parents had 2 kids, my sister-in-law, 29 female, and my husband the youngest. Whereas I am one of 3 sisters and me being the middle child. Both my older and younger sister each have children of their own, and I have learned boundaries when it comes to posting their children on social media. I usually post their kids' hands or backs of their heads, because I respect my sisters and their wishes. My husband's family disregards this notion and will post whatever. Recently, a friend of ours is due to give birth and my mother-in-law stated she couldn't wait to meet the baby before they leave on a New Year's trip that was planned a year ago. Now I know I'm wrong here when I asked why she would think said friend would allow visitors since it's holiday season and people tend to get sick. She gave me a look but didn't respond. Now a week ago I found out I was pregnant and my husband, bless him, was so excited he told his parents and sister. Soon I got flooded with congratulations texts from his extended family, which infuriated me since I don't know how far along I am. I told my husband I'm very early and not out of the woods yet of possibly having a miscarriage. My husband got defensive at first, but when I told him I didn't even get to tell my parents or sisters and the hurt in my voice, he quickly apologized. Tonight we had dinner at his parents' place to celebrate the news, but also go over expectations for future news that we want privacy and to set boundaries. Once dinner was in full swing, his mom had started asking us about our birth plans and when she thinks I'll be due so she can ask for time off. She asked what hospital we decided and she couldn't wait to be in the room. She then mentioned to have a room ready in our house so she can assist us with the baby. I looked at my husband and back at her because she kept rambling on and not allowing me to speak up. Finally I cut her off and told her it's just me and my husband that'll be in the room only. Once we get home we want a week to ourselves to enjoy baby. For her staying with us, I thanked her for kindness, but she won't be living with us. She looked offended and said her son would want her to be there. I looked at my husband and he told his mom that he agrees it should only be us in the room and no one else. My father-in-law, bless him, tried to diffuse the heated discussion by stating to his wife that it's okay and times are different. She somewhat simmered down and asked once I find out the gender if I can allow her to do a gender reveal. I told her we don't want to know the gender, it'll be a surprise. She said, "That's okay, bring me the ultrasound photos and I'll know." I so badly wanted to respond back to her, but honestly I was so emotionally drained. I stayed quiet the rest of the night and have been a tad distant to my husband. Yesterday, I got a text from my husband's relative stating I was an a-hole for telling mother-in-law she can't be in the room and I'm robbing her from that experience. Reddit, am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law no? Now for the comments. Your body, your baby, your boundaries. Do what the F you want to do. This is your experience, not hers. Not the a-hole. It's not your responsibility to provide experiences for your mother-in-law. She had 2 kids, so she's had that experience, twice. If the mother-in-law wants a magical experience, she can go to Disney. Not the a-hole. You're not robbing her of any experience as she has given birth twice. I don't understand this entitlement of some folks seeming to think it's acceptable to tell someone that they will be in the delivery suite while they're giving birth. The person who is giving birth has the right to have whoever they want and to exclude whoever they want, including the father. I'd start being firmer with your boundaries with mother-in-law and anyone else who oversteps. Your husband needs to start having your back and initiating conversations with his family about expectations going forward. When I was in labor, and literally pushing my first baby out of my vag, my sister opened the delivery room door and decided to casually waltz in to watch me deliver my baby. My face was mortified, but I had an amazing nurse who turned to her and said, "This is not your baby. Get out." My nurse was a shark, but she was amazing and took care of that crap for me. All to say, Tell your medical staff that no one is allowed in the room and they'll take care of it if she even tries to pull a fast one. Not the a-hole. I'd just laugh and ignore. I don't know why, but I imagined her casually strolling in while munching on Cheetos. Honestly, you're imagining it well. She walked in super casually, super happy and confident that I'd want her in there. Like, what? I never invited you. Get out and waltz your way back to the waiting area. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.